Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You, in a week where we all got an extra hour's sleep thanks to the return of Noel's house party. In the news this week, seconds before his arrest, the world's tallest assassin trains his rifle on Boris Yeltsin. At the South Pole, as food supplies run out, Sir Ranulph Fiennes begins to regret bringing his cat. And staff at Victoria and Albert Museum regret asking the work experience trainee to deal with a fly. On Ian Hislop's team, one of the few people who every time he appears on TV seems to have the whole of Britain behind him, Ian McCaskill. And with Paul Merton tonight is the first lawyer to appear on the show rather than sue it, Michael Mansfield, QC. Round one hose interview, like the opening round of a quiz show. The usual non-entity parade, Ian and Ian.
Well, Secretary, as was.
Yes.
Yes. What do Welsh people do to enjoy themselves? What do they actually do? I mean, if there's not...
I have a feeling you've just lost about a third of our audience.
Well, I'm an ethnic minority too, of course.
What are you, a weatherman?
I'm a weatherman, yes.
This is the Ron Davis story.
Of course it is.
Well spotted, yes.
It's good, that. And you've asked what the story is, and no one really knows. I would say no one's got to the bottom of it, but that isn't it.
Well, just as well he didn't say
Thank
that.
goodness I did. No, Ron Davis said there was no drugs and no sex involved. So I don't know what he was doing in Clapham Common.
That's near your neck of the woods, isn't it? Clapham Common?
Yes. No one knows. Blair seems to have no idea what he's done either. I mean, he came and said, I've made a lapse of judgment. Blair said, you're out. And the next day he thought, oh, I should have asked him. Do you know what he did? What did he do?
He met a Rastafarian, we know that.
You know.
He met a Rastafarian.
And he was invited
to dinner.
For a meal.
In Brixton. And he said, great, can we go to an estate?
What was the estate called?
St Matthew's.
Crack Alley, it's known as.
Unfortunate phrase, given...
And...
Sorry.
And someone else's sexuality was called into question this week.
Yes. Not mine.
Whose was it, Ian?
I think it was the Prince of Darkness. Yes.
The Prince of Darkness?
Yes. Some Matthew Paris said...
When did he say this?
This week.
It was on Newsnight. He said there are 2 gay members of the cabinet. And Paxman said 2.
You can see it now.
There are 2 gay members in the cabinet, at least.
2 gay members of the cabinet. Openly gay members of the cabinet?
Well, Chris Smith is openly gay,
Chris Smith is openly gay.
Peter Mandelson is certainly gay.
I'm not quite sure where he is.
You're just waiting for him to say, I've had him.
Oh dear.
And what else did Matthew Paris reveal this week? Was kind of interesting.
Well, he wrote a piece saying that he'd gone cruising on Clapham Common.
Clapham Common, yes.
It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
Do you want to continue or not?
Not much.
Paul and Michael.
This is Carlos Menem, lost at the airport. This is the story that perhaps he's come over to this country and there was a headline in the Sun saying he's apologised for the Falklands War. But it turns out that he hadn't apologised. And the idea is that Alistair Campbell had perhaps sort of wrote the statement for him.
Well, it was examined by a handwriting expert, and they found that...
they found out it was typed.
The apology that... So Hirohito done the same thing, same wording.
Yeah.
In both, so it's...
I apologise for the Falklands.
Yep.
Kind of weird. And when were the Falklands invaded, for an extra point?
I didn't realise we invaded them for an extra point. Was this some sort of like... It's a knockout. Was this a European South American stage? For 1 point, can you capture this island? When was it invaded? 1982?
No, 1832 by the British. What's he not allowed to do back in his own country? Do you read about this?
What's he not allowed to do?
Menem.
Come here again, I should think.
Well, he brings bad luck, so he's not allowed to attend football matches. He's supposed to have shaken hands with an Argentinian powerboat champion just before he lost his arm.
That's a powerful handshake.
And which South American leader might be going back even before Menem does?
Bob Pinochet, I should think. Then I think, where's he gone today? He's secretly gone to another address at RAF Lynham, is it? Or so he...
But I'm glad to see that the British taxpayer footed the bill to his defence.
Because what they're really worried about...
Wasn't you, was it?
No, not again.
Unfashionable causes, I thought you might.
So his legal bill of £350,000, is that normal for legal aid to pay that?
I don't know what that's paying for in his case.
Well, half an hour in court, do you think?
Yeah.
Didn't you get your bill refused on legal aid earlier on this year?
A little.
What, half?
What was the problem? They thought you were charging too much.
No, we thought, if you do a job, do it well, and top court in the land, should get paid reasonably. So.
Anyone convinced?
Yeah. But you settled out of court, as it were.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Well, we haven't got paid, so.
Oh dear.
At all.
No, not a lot of sympathy. In Argentina, Mr. Menem is said to be Mufa, a word meaning bringer of bad luck. According to Argentine folklore, the traditional way of counteracting the Mufa is to touch the left testicle with the right hand, although Welsh ministers, please note it's your own testicle. Ian, your tabloid headline, I'm no bookworm, says Chaz.
Yes, this is Prince Charles, isn't it? Yes, he had nothing to do with the book, the penny Juno money spinner. No, nothing to do with whatsoever.
That's the host.
That's
No, I think that is right.
No.
That's what he said. I'm no bookworm. He's not a worm. He didn't go round trying to attack Diana's memory.
No.
Yes, and what is the book exactly?
It's called Charles, Victim or Villain. And it purports to show that Charles was given a terribly bad press through his marriage, and that Diana not only committed adultery first, but she also threatened Camilla's life, ringing up saying, I've sent someone into the garden to get you. It's usually Charles, as I remember the story.
Yes.
What are we doing here, Ian? We should be at home writing books about Diana, shouldn't we? I mean, you make money. You make real money.
Do you know how many there are?
Oh, it's got to be a good one. You've got to make it up a bit. I mean, you've got to sex it up, you know.
Well, it was sort of brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Sex it up a bit.
Yeah.
Is that a meteorological term?
Yeah.
And there was also something that Di was supposed to have found around the house belonging to Camilla. Don't you read about
Charles.
It wasn't had a bracelet.
Oh, it's just amazingly bad timing. Everyone was just beginning to say, oh, Charles, guy's 50, you know, look at him. It's not that bad, really. And out comes a book, which he looks pretty clear that either him or his friends collaborated with, and everyone hates him again. And then Jerry Spice sings him an anthem.
Do you really not like the idea of her singing Happy Birthday, then?
No, I think it's charming and lovely.
Oh, well, good, because we're going to have a look at it now.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, my God.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Your Royal Highness. Happy birthday to you.
He's just turning to that woman on his left saying, sorry, who's she? Juna's contribution is the 70th book to be published in Britain on the subject of Charles and Diana. Surely It's Time to Leave Her Alone is the title of the 71st book, serialised. And finally, Paul and Michael, your major news story, storm in an egg cup.
Well, it's Delia who's telling everybody how to boil water, and somebody thinks, I think somebody has...
Gary Rhodes. That's his name, seriously. There's somebody called Gary Rhodes.
And she was described as the sort of giving the missionary position in food was how she was described in one, I think.
Why is it basically happening?
Because Gary Rhodes has got a new book out. And he wants the publicity.
And so how does Gary Rhodes not like to be described?
As Gary Lineker.
Probably does. No, celebrity chef is how he dislikes being described.
That was Willie Rushton's great joke. He was asked to complete the phrase, too many cooks. He just said, on television.
There was another one he did on I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue, complete the phrase, don't get your knickers, and he completed it with in a car boot sale.
It's a tribute round.
Yes. Other people's gags. Yes, it is a criticism by Gary Rhodes, the celebrity chef, that Delia Smith's new How to Cook series is insulting and offensive. Egon Ronay joined the debate, saying Delia's cooking is the missionary position of food, which suddenly makes her book Cooking for One sound even sadder. According to The Times, in an experiment carried out at Exeter University to test culinary expertise, one student stared at a dessert spoon, not sure if it was a tablespoon. He slowly cut bacon and onions into precise 5mm pieces, one at a time, and took almost an hour to complete a 10-minute recipe. He then expertly rolled himself another joint to complement the one. So, at the end of that round, both teams, like ballet dancers, have 2-2s with 4 each. And so to a round in which hours of painstaking research have been replaced by some random facts made up over a pint. Paul, who's the odd one from this rabble, Peter Mandelson, Mick Jagger, Tommy Lee, and Michael Howard.
Peter Mandelson sucking a Malteser, you can just see it there, look. Is it about being in prison? It's about being in prison, because Michael Howard went into prison recently, didn't he? Sadly, as only to help charity. Mick Jagger, I think, there are 3 of them spent a night in prison, is that it? And Peter Mandelson's never been in prison?
Well, I've got some good news and some bad news.
Give us the bad news.
The bad news is that there are 3 parts to this question.
Right.
The good news is that that was right, but it's only one part.
So what are the other parts of the question, or do I have to guess?
Exactly.
It's bad enough to get the answers. If you don't even know what the question is, I don't know, they've all got a conservatory. It could be anything, I don't know.
They're all married to models. Isn't that the answer? Tommy Lee is married to Pamela Anderson, who, though described as an actress, I think would be better described as a blonde. But he's a model. Michael Howard's married to a model.
Michael Howard's married?
I think she's right behind him on that photograph.
Yes, well, that is the second part. Very good.
What do you mean that's the second part?
Well, you changed the rules of this round without mentioning it.
Yeah.
No, there were just 3 parts to the question. And the final part...
I don't know, well, the odd one out is the... Well, I don't know, tell us.
I will do in that case. You can have 1 point each, because the answer is that all of them have been in a rock band, married a model, and been locked up in prison. With the exception of Peter Mandelson, who hasn't been in a rock band, has never married, and should be locked up.
I picked him out as the odd one out.
You did, and you got a point for it. And well done, then we move on. Michael, your regal entourage are the Duchess of York, the Princess of Wales, Louise Woodward, and Tony Bullymore.
Maybe this is to do with suffering. Fergie has just started a chat show, and all the others are sufferers who've been interviewed on chat shows. Martin Bashir, I think, with Di, Martin Bashir, Louise Woodward, And I don't know who's interviewed Ballymore, but somebody, when he came back after he capsized several times off the coast of New Zealand. So I put Bashir and that lot as the odd ones out, and Fergie is the actual odd one.
There's probably 3 parts to this.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yes, no,
Fergie's the odd one out, I would say.
is the right answer. Very good. Well done. Who's Bashir about to interview, or will do in the new year?
Well, he says, and I find it quite horrific, that the 5 suspects in the Lawrence case who've had plenty of opportunity to give accounts and have refused several times and gone to court to prevent being asked any questions, are now laying their souls bare, and Martin Bashir apparently is quite willing to do this.
But they know he won't ask any questions.
Well, maybe...
That's his technique. Yes, I can't believe it either. They're actually going to appear on his show. What's he going to ask them? So, tell us how you didn't do it then. And other tough questions.
But enough questions about that. What's your favourite colour?
Do you think they'll all appear in the half-light looking up?
Yes.
So they appear more innocent.
And you heard it
anyway.
first. Yes.
And enormously amusing it is.
On a rather more amusing note, Fergie's show, has anyone seen it?
Nope. No one at all.
What's it called?
No one's watching.
Alone with Sarah.
Sarah Surviving Life, it's called. Martin Bashir has a reputation for giving his subjects an easy ride, while Fergie thinks they should at least buy her a drink first. Ian, as in Hislop. Michael Owen, Lady Di, Michael Mansfield, and Dolly the sheep.
Who's Michael Owen? A footballer, of course.
Yeah. He's rich then, isn't he? He's paid money, you know.
You're very keen on this money, Lark, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't have any. I mean, like, well, why should he have it all? I'm a pensioner, did I tell you that?
It is a tough question, that. Why should he have more money than you?
Exactly.
Do you want a clue?
All the answer. Yeah, give us a clue.
There's a clue on the back of Michael Owen's shirt.
His name, Owen, O-W-E-N.
Owen.
Yes.
In case you were wondering how you
Or
spell
Owen.
Owen. People in Wales.
Mansfield.
Does Dolly have a shirt with Dolly on the back of it? In case other sheep don't know that she's the famous cloney one. Does Michael Mansfield walk around in court with Mansfield on the back of his gown?
It's patently obvious, that's another clue.
Ah, they've painted their names. Michael Owen is painted his name, so it's like anything that's produced with Michael Owen, he gets money. So it's the Michael Owen thing. Like Alan Shearer's done the same thing. Dolly the sheep, also somebody's taken a patent out on her. It's on Dolly the sheep T-shirts. The same with Princess Di. You haven't painted your name, have you?
No.
Right, you're the odd one out.
That's the right answer. And why was Michael chosen as the odd one out? There is a reason.
This Michael?
Yes.
I don't know.
Have you patented anything at all, ever, Michael?
Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I have. Yes, it was a long time ago. I designed... Well, you know, you stand at these parties and you have a knife and a fork and you can't quite make it. In fact, 2 things. One was a knife-cutting fork, so you could stand there and eat and do that. But the other was an umbrella, which comes out of your back. You know, you always forget umbrellas. So I had a little box, which was electrically operated. So when you're in, you know, walking along, you press a button and the umbrella comes over like this. I patented that for a year.
Oh, man.
The electrically operated box, is that safe in the weather, in the rain?
No, but by the time the umbrellas come up, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it just covers you and you don't collide with people. You can do it in the tube, wherever you like.
So the law's gain was technology's loss.
Tell me about the fork that's also a knife. That sounds quite interesting.
Well, it's the problem is when you put it in your mouth.
And finally in this round, the other Ian. Your 4 are the God Thor, 200 Monks, Chris Bonington, and the Morocco Swallows.
Well, there is, I think. Thor is the only one who hasn't made a record. recently.
A record.
A record, yes, recording. And the 200 monks are just out there in the plain-song department for Christmas. 200 monks, somewhere in England, doing plain-song fit to bust. Or else, they all live up mountains except for the Moroccan swallows.
I think that's one of the worst answers I've ever heard.
I'm sorry.
Thor's the odd one out.
No, I said that alternatively, yes. That was answer one. That was
For what
the
particular
one.
reason?
Well, he throws lightning bolts, and the other 3 have all been struck by lightning.
Bugger. That is the right answer. Very good.
Well done. Well done.
Would you like to elaborate at all when they've been struck?
Well, I don't know.
No, I had a feeling.
I know there was a football team this week that was struck by lightning, so I realised that Thor dispenses lightning bolts, so he was probably Chris Bonington going up mountains, you know, going up and wearing your umbrella thing. Get to the top of Mount Everest, lightning bolt comes down. The same with the monks; they've got their lightning conductors sticking out of their hats. Zoom, they're gone.
There are
Because the monks
subtitles
actually,
on
that's a
CFAX,
silent order. They weren't silent when they got struck by lightning either.
It's true, it was part of an experiment by Louis XVI. They had to hold hands and fly a kite. So how does lightning happen exactly? Fill us in.
No. It's very boring indeed. No,
Is it?
I'm
Okay.
curious, yeah.
Well, don't bother filling us in. Where's the best place to go if lightning strikes?
Under the bed.
It's amazing the depth of your scientific knowledge.
And the best place to go if there is a thunderstorm is apparently your car.
Yes.
Yes.
What about people who don't know where Ian's car is?
Inside.
They could be looking all over the place.
Inside any... Yes, the charge is distributed around the
Oh, it's
outside.
no good trying it now. The charge is distributed.
I'm sorry. It's true, actually, yeah.
In August 1997, a man survived a lightning strike because he was wearing flip-flops, just as well, really. No one wants to be seen dead in a pair of those. Which current affairs bring us bang to the end of this round, with Ian and Ian looking burnt out, trailing as they are 11-5. And so we say goodnight to our panellists after this round. The usual staggering selection of half-cut headlines, including some, none or more from this week's guest publication, the action-packed Weather magazine. So let's kick off with what bursts in the Pacific?
Pavarotti. What's the tornado thing? Is that what's just burst?
The hurricane, yes, Mitch. Yeah, that can't be it, no. No, because it's in the Atlantic.
Oh, I see.
That's not the same. Yeah.
Is there a Hurricane Ian?
They use them all. They use all the names, and they're all PC. They start off every year with either men or women names, and next year the other way around, and they all alternate.
That's how fascinating it is. Next, lawyers and plumbers what?
Lawyers and plumbers and pelicans can all stick their bills up their arses.
Charge too much.
Yes, that's true, but it's not the answer. Plug gaps in the church is the answer, by becoming local ministers and holding wedding and funeral services. If you fancy it.
Yeah, I do.
Do you? There's no money.
Not a problem.
You heard it here first. Next, passionate female seahorses what?
Jumped on me on Clapham Common.
No.
They give the male seahorses a very bad time. They wear them out.
Is exactly the right answer. Wear out their partners. Very good.
Oh, really?
Exhausted male seahorses being pestered to death by over-amorous females. Must be murder for them. And next, reformed Gascoigne turns into what?
Footballer.
Teetotaler.
No.
Cul-de-sac? think of, is that?
Outpatient is the answer. This is Gaza announcing that he's never ever going to drink again, although he was probably pissed when he said it. Next, Miller fails to what?
Win nomination as Miss United Kingdom. His heart was set on it.
No,
Fails to score.
not quite. Fails to deliver is the answer. He's written a book, or he was supposed to write a book of political memoirs, and failed to write it, and therefore had to hand his advance back.
Had to hand his advance back.
Have you written any good books recently?
No,
No.
don't intend to.
Right. So the one called The Inquest last year that you wrote.
Yes, well, I have written that.
Right.
But that's not recently, you see.
Nor
No,
is
I
it good,
see.
I hear.
And finally, most people have an interest in what
Weather.
is the right answer. This is according to Weather magazine, which says this interest often turns to fascination when the subject involves extreme weather. Is this true, Ian?
No.
What's your favourite cloud? Nimbus or cumulus or?
I mean, you can't forecast extreme weather, so it's very boring, really.
Right.
It happens, and you don't forecast it, because you can't forecast extreme weather.
Why not?
Well, you never do forecast the ends of the distribution. You don't, I mean, because you're unlikely to get it right.
So
You
best
wait
not
till
to
the weather
forecast.
arrives, then you...
Exactly.
Then you forecast it.
Exactly.
Have a quick look out the window, then you're on the telly.
Well,
Never think of that.
So do you get a lot of letters from female admirers and things? Is that true?
yeah. Well, one or two.
And they send you items
One
of
or
clothing
two?
and things?
No, they haven't done that yet, no.
Oh, right.
And all of a certain age, these ladies, you understand, like definitely sort of past their procreational best.
I think that's lost about another quarter of the audience.
Which somewhat inaccurate forecasts mean that at the end of tonight's outbursts, this week's complete showers are Ian and Ian with 7, while all hail Paul and Michael with 13. And I leave you with news that the Duke of Edinburgh launches the first ever issue of the Buckingham Palace newsletter. Religious leaders admit the popularity of Sunday football is seriously affecting church attendance. And at a bullfight in Madrid, Eric Cantona regrets shouting abuse from the crowd. Good night.